Now let's talk about another aspect or another area of concern, which is the impact of AI on jobs. Recently, there's been a lot of chatter and big debate on social media as well as to whether AI could be disrupting jobs here in India, particularly service sector jobs, and whether that will have a ripple effect on the economy, given the large share of services that we have. This was a debate that was sparked by the CEO of Atomberg, I think, the company. So let's take this forward with Ramani, Dathi, Chief Financial Officer at TeamLease, and Pawan Goyal, who's Executive Director and Chief Business Officer at Naukri.com. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining in. Pawan, let me get your thoughts in. Now, this is always there in the background. What will AI mean for the regular white-collar jobs, the starting or the mid-level IT services jobs in India, as companies go through AI adoption? I mean, what's your reading so far? Do you expect any disruption in hiring?
So this question of whether AI will lead to job disruption has been there for a while, but this is not a new question. Meaning anytime there's a technology disruption, there's this fear of white-collar job losses or job losses. And if you look at that 400-year arc ever since industrialization started, it's not turned out to be true. It's always led to more job creation. Of course, there are short periods of turmoil and the mix of jobs changes, but that's what we've seen from a historical standpoint. Now, if you take more just, let's say, year to date and see how white collar has performed, our jobs peak index for the last 5 months is a modest 3% year-on-year growth. Now, in that, non-IT has performed well, like FMCG, real estate, hospitality, pharma, insurance. Well, IT has been modest at flattish at -1%. Okay. Now, how do you read that? Is this because of impact of AI, or is it overhang of all the excess hiring that happened in past? It's hard to say. Now, there are a couple of secular trends which I want to bring to your attention. One is what we do see is senior level hiring is where there is demand. It's certainly outpacing the demand in the mid-level hiring. So experienced talent, 16 plus years, 13 plus years, that's where we see demand. The second place where we see demand, and I was actually surprised, is if you say less than 5 lakh salary kind of a segment and still white collar jobs, there's fair amount of demand there as well. I was surprised to see the demand for BPO in that segment, BPO jobs in that segment outstrips the supply at this time. Okay. So the third trend which we see is in every job seeker segment, talent which is at premium, which is getting high salary, they are more in demand. Okay. Now, one would have expected that if AI was really impacting the jobs, the BPO jobs in the less than 5 lakh segment would have been impacted, but we don't see that yet. Now, this is not to say will it impact in the near future, what kind of changes it will have. It is all possible. It can lead to, suddenly will lead to disruption. Whether it leads to net job growth or loss, we have to see. At this time, I don't see any evidence supporting the thesis one way or the other.
So as of now, there is no impact in terms of rate of hiring. That's what you're saying, just to get that out of the way. Pawan.
So the jobs peak is at a modest level. It's 3% only year on year. But there's whether it is because of AI, that thesis we cannot, we have no evidence for yet.
Okay. When you say jobs peak is at 3%, which means what? Rate of growth is 3%.
No, jobs peak is yes, roughly you can say that. Hiring intensity is growing by 3%. So it's fairly modest.
And we're talking about IT jobs.
Now, this is across the sector. IT is flattish at -1%.
Okay. And -1% compares to how earlier? What's the earlier?
IT has been in this range bound, very flattish for several quarters now.
Okay. And when we are asking this question, is AI impacting hiring trends, should we look at that 3% number or -1% number? What is the right metric to look at? IT jobs or overall jobs?
So I think the current thesis is IT will probably first disrupt meaning the customer support kind of jobs and developer jobs. So we should look at both those BPO and software jobs because that's where it is likely to have impact first.
Okay, Ramani, hi. Thanks for joining in as well. Prashant here. So, I mean, similar kind of questions. I mean, social media, but there's a lot of fear and panic on social media as well. You don't, all kinds of things, right? I mean, I just saw a post this morning that 25% of the graduating class of Harvard is unemployed. And then there were, but there's so much nuance. People have not made up their minds in terms of what they want to do. Some want to do, further studies, PhDs. But as far as the workforce and hiring is concerned, Ramani, what are you seeing? How can can you answer that question one way or the other in a definitive kind of way? Is AI and adoption of AI impacting hiring in a big way so far?
So, Prashant, definitely AI is impacting hiring, and whether all the slowness that we are seeing across sectors in the general overall hiring numbers, is it all attributable only to AI? Definitely not, because even the outlook for GDP growth is kind of moderate between 6.5% for this year, as well as there are macro level slight shrink in the demand, and also the global trade frictions are on. So there are multiple factors impacting the overall hiring trend. But in sectors like IT, BPO, education, entertainment, and media, definitely AI is impacting jobs, especially the jobs which are in 0 to 4 year category. We are seeing that being impacted. It's not just impacting the number of jobs, even the salary levels to some extent have come under pressure because of the AI impact. Having said that, on blue collar side, we are seeing very good outlook for H1 of this year, especially EV infrastructure, manufacturing, FMCG. So these sectors are doing very well.
So this is, factory floor, on the ground kind of jobs, right? Which you're saying is doing much better. Okay, got that. Just a quick question to both of you. Are there any segments where you're seeing demand for jobs as well, so-called AI jobs? What kind of jobs are these? That'll mostly be in the tech space. Ramani, if you want to go first.
Yeah, sure. So with GCC clients, we are seeing very high demand, especially for AI-related jobs, AI and ML-related jobs, 4 year plus experienced profiles. And also, as Pawan rightly mentioned, at senior level, we are seeing very good demand. Even for white-collar jobs and IT jobs, there is a good demand. But since the bulk of the jobs get generated between 0 to 4 year experience, there we are either seeing the outlook being stagnant, or for medium-sized and small-sized companies, in fact, the outlook is negative. They are planning for more headcount reduction in H1 of this year.
Pawan, same question to you.
Yeah. So GCC as a sector has grown 10% year on year from a job speak point of view. So demand in GCC is robust across different job roles. Now in AI and ML, it's seeing a phenomenal growth. The growth numbers have varied from 50% to 30% all throughout different months in the year. So job in AI ML, whether it is in GCCs or non-GCCs, we are seeing a significant growth there.
All right. Hi, Pawan, as well as Ramani. Thanks a lot for joining in. Well, various reports indicate that if you have AI engineering in your resume, the probability of getting the job goes up. Would you agree? And also, they say the pay scale is very, very different for someone who has AI engineering in their resume. Interesting. But Pawan, you go first. Tell us, what is your comment on that?
Yes, certainly. We are also seeing people adding AI skills in their resume, and that addition rate has gone up significantly. However, just having that will not make a difference. You will need to really have those skills. Yes, if you have those skills, there's a huge demand, and the probability of getting a job is very, very high. I don't have specific data on the salary difference between AI engineers and regular software engineers, but anecdotally, it is a substantial delta. Even within our company, we have a substantial delta between those two roles. So yes, from a future job standpoint, developing those skills will put you more in demand and lead to a higher salary growth.
All right, Ramani, come in on this. My kids are too small, but I'm just thinking many, many years ahead, what all they'll have to do, to get the resume to stand out. But tell us your comment on this. Having AI engineering in your resume, how does it impact the probability and the pay scale as well?
Yeah, on this point, I completely agree with Pawan's comment because having a keyword may help with better chances of getting shortlisted, but the final interviewing and the placement, getting a job is all dependent on having the right skill set or not. And as far as the salary levels are concerned, definitely the niche skills are getting a much premium salary, be it AI, ML skills or cloud management, cybersecurity. These kind of niche skills are definitely having a premium over the regular engineering, coding, testing kind of jobs.
Okay, Ramani and Pawan, now let's look into the future. Maybe a year, or maybe even if you can gauge 2 years down the line. None of the large IT services companies so far, your Infosys, TCS, none of them have publicly spoken about reducing campus hiring or any kind of AI disruption. If anything, every time we interact with these companies, they say that in fact they're investing far more in upskilling their workforce to make them AI ready, to work smarter, etc. So nothing publicly on record in terms of cutting down jobs. But would you expect some sort of a disruption ahead? What should both employees as well as investors be aware of as these companies go up the AI adoption curve? Ramani?
See, it's very, I think it's too early to comment on this aspect because, even the large companies are still assessing the kind of impact AI and ML can have on their processes and overall jobs. Definitely, it will help increase the productivity of the existing employee base. And as far as the large IT services are concerned, as you rightly mentioned, they're all investing heavily in upskilling their existing talent towards AI and ML related skills, and this will help increase the productivity of these employees. But at the same time, can this, in the short run, impact jobs? In our view, maybe in the short run, definitely it will have an impact, especially at the fresher level hiring. But in the long run, it will create more new jobs in different categories.
Okay. Pawan, your thoughts?
So AI, there is no question AI will increase productivity. Now, the question is, will you do more with less or do you do more with more? And let me explain that a little bit more. So as productivity increases, you can address segments, scenarios, and things which were not possible earlier. Okay. So if let's say if you have I know of a social media company which has said, look, I could not provide customer support because it was prohibitively expensive. But now I can put a layer of AI and then put humans behind it and provide a much better support. Okay, so something which was not feasible earlier starts becoming feasible. So now, which of these two scenarios will unfold, whether it's more with more or more with less, it remains to be seen. I'm cautiously optimistic that will be the more with more scenario, but this is something that we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
All right. Pawan and Ramani, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. I guess from a company perspective across, it doesn't matter which industry, when a position opens up, I guess that question hiring managers and, the leadership, of course, is asking the question whether we need to, whether this can be done, whether this can be automated, whether AI can do it. That whether it can be, cannot be is a different matter. But that question, of course, is being asked across the board, has been asked for a while now. Thank you both for joining us. And we'll continue to sort of come back to you and as we track this story going forward. We'll take